In the pulsating heart of a glamorous nightclub, amid the thick haze of smoke and the electrifying rhythm of music, Twee found herself snugly pressed against the man beside her. Their laughter mingled with the bass thumps. And for a fleeting moment, the world felt exhilarating and free. As the chaos of the night washed over her, a thought flickered in Thai's mind, lingering there like a whisper, a question for her companion. Tuan, would you like to go somewhere quieter? Just the two of us. To have a little more fun? She managed to ask, her voice barely rising above the din. But a knot of apprehension laced her words. Watching her fiddling nervously with the hem of her short skirt, it was clear she was pushing against her fears and uncertainty for the sake of a chance at something more. The truth was, as she braved the suggestion, she felt as if she was hanging by a thread, this encounter teetering on the edge of a precipice she never wished to traverse. There was a fleeting glimmer of hope as Tuan nodded in agreement. And Twee felt a rush of relief, a wave of hope crashing over her like a sudden downpour. As the night folded into itself, they made their way across the street to a nearby hotel, where, upon entering, Tuan was greeted by the staff like an old friend. Confident and casual, he retrieved the room key, leaving Twee to nervously trail behind him. Acutely aware of her surroundings, she was a tapestry of contrasts, a beautiful, fragile blossom in a world that often seemed indifferent to her existence. Inside the lavishly adorned room, Tuan casually suggested, "Why don't you take a shower? Can I get you anything to drink?" She shook her head, feigning indifference, yet inside, conflicted emotions swirled within her like a tempest. Caught in a tumultuous dance of choices, she stepped into the bathroom, the roar of running water juxtaposing the storm brewing inside her heart. It was as if her very soul was crying out with each splash of water. Drowning in doubts about her decisions, staring at her reflection, she let out a sigh. Could she truly bring herself to cross this line? Facing the mirror, she wrapped a towel around herself, steeling her resolve, and stepped out. Her pale skin and long legs drew Tuan's gaze, igniting something within him. It was a primal urge, the allure of innocence colliding with desire. A smile crept onto his face. Yet the tension in the air felt palpable, a chaotic tension that enveloped them as Twee approached the bed. "Hold on a moment, I need to freshen up," Tuan said, momentarily retreating to the bathroom. As he did so, Twee perched at the edge of the bed, nerves twisting like vines around her heart. She felt both exposed and alive, waiting with bated breath as the seconds turned into an eternity. When Tuan returned, a hint of teasing danced in his eyes. "Don't tell me this is your first time," he joked. Gauging her silent unease, Twee averted her gaze, the unspoken truth hanging heavy between them. This wasn't her first dance with desperation. But it was a step into uncharted territory. A mobile phone rang suddenly, slicing through the charged atmosphere. Panic surged through Twee as she grabbed for it, the caller's identity turning her face pale. "I have to go, it's urgent," she implored Tuan, her voice trembling with sincerity. "Please, give me your number. I'll be back as soon as I can." Silent frustration spilled from Tuan as he realized their fleeting moment together might slip away. But with resolve, he nodded. "Make it quick," he said grudgingly, dashing out into the stormy, frigid night. Twee vanished, leaving Tuan alone amidst an unsettling quiet. As he dressed, exasperation hung in the air, simmering within him as he considered the swirling thunderstorm outside, and the vulnerable figure of a girl stranded in the rain. Caught in a moment of compassion, he decided to follow. As he spotted her at an intersection, desperately trying to hail a taxi, a wave of empathy surged through him. "Where are you trying to go?" he called out, his voice breaking through the deluge of rain. "I need to get to the hospital," she replied breathlessly, scrambling into his car as if it were a lifeline thrown in the tempest. Through the downpour, Tuan caught glimpses of the raw anxiety etched on her face. And for the first time, he saw beyond the facade, the struggle and desperation woven into her being. As they approached the hospital, Twee practically flew from the vehicle, rushing towards the doors, leaving Tuan bewildered in her wake. His pulse quickened as he watched her fade into an ocean of bustling humanity, a pulsating reminder of life's fragility. Left alone, He suddenly noticed a small purse lying on his seat. A remnant of their brief encounter, a forgotten piece of Twee. With a long sigh, he decided to follow her. The hospital buzzed with an undercurrent of urgency and despair. He made his way through the labyrinth of sterile white walls and lifeless linoleum. His heart wasn't just heavy with confusion, but with a shadow of understanding as he recognized the pain mirrored in each tear-streaked face. Wandering deeper into this world of quiet suffering, he caught sight of Twee, enveloping a small child, soothing and calming. In that moment, the once dystopian shadows clouding her world began to intertwine with bright threads of humanity. Twee, he ventured, hesitantly breaking through her tranquil interaction with the babe. As their eyes met, a bittersweet recognition flickered in the air. He's just waiting for a transplant. You know, she spoke softly, her words hanging delicately in the air, heavy with unshed tears. It's hard. I'm just trying to get by. In that fleeting moment, as she confided in a stranger, a simple man who had ventured into her chaotic life, Tuan understood the weight of sacrifice that hung like a dark cloud over her shoulders. Suddenly, the narrative of their encounter shifted from one of simple transactions to a complex tapestry of human connection. Listening intently as she spoke, each revelation unraveled the perception he once held. She was no longer just a girl lost in desperation, but a mother, a protector, fighting against insurmountable odds to provide for her child. Empathy blossomed within him, reshaping the very fabric of his understanding, underlining the often overlooked human condition. What about the father? He found himself asking, curiosity overwhelming his shyness. Thai's smile faltered, her gaze drifting into the ether. I don't know, he's just gone. You know, she murmured, a haunting echo that matched the sorrowful atmosphere around them. As she spoke, he found fragments of his own story interwoven with hers, the concept of love, loss, obligations, scars etched deep into the very essence of being human. Beneath the surface of societal stigma and judgments lay a tale riddled with profound emotional depth, a testament to resilience. Each story spun out in the sterile corridors resonated with the rhythm of their shared humanity, drawing lines of connection through their disparate lives, a beautiful yet painful acknowledgement of life's unpredictable turns. Would you ever consider finding another path? He asked, delighting in the silvery laughter that slipped from her lips, brightening the opaque gloom of the hospital room. Perhaps where you are cherished and cared for. Her laughter faded, replaced by an introspective gaze. Everyone desires security, but sometimes the choices lead us elsewhere. If not for circumstances, I might have nothing to do with this life. And as they continued to converse, a captivating realization bloomed within him, a nuance of understanding that wove their lives together with an invisible thread. Would you like to do something different? He ventured again, his heart pounding softly in his chest. Perhaps, work with me instead? Twee blinked, a myriad of emotions flitting across her face, surprise, uncertainty, hope. But, you're not serious. Why not? He countered, his voice firm with conviction. I see you, Twee. I see your fight, and I admire your strength. I think you deserve happiness too. If working together can brighten our lives, isn't it worth considering? In that moment, surrounded by the murmur of darkened corridors and unseen burdens, a spark ignited, an unorthodox friendship born amid the wreckage of life's misfortunes, potentially the beginnings of a deeper connection they both sought but had never known. Amid the chaos, they found solace in each other, a chapter still unwritten, waiting to unfold under the help of two wounded souls daring to explore the light of a new dawn ahead, that through their journey together, they could rise beyond the shadows of their past. A new dawn, the pact of hope and change. Beneath the vibrant yet sterile fluorescent lights of the hospital, Twee and Tuan nestled into a corner of the waiting area, their conversations flowing effortlessly like a gentle river. The mingling scents of antiseptics and the heavy atmosphere thickened with unspoken worries created a backdrop as they shared their stories, each revelation drawing them closer. Encased in this cocoon of understanding, they unearthed a fragile sense of hope that began to blossom between them. I've always dreamed of a different life, Twee confided, her voice soft yet resonant. Her eyes sparkled with a blend of yearning and muted fear, reflecting the battles she fought daily. But every choice I make pulls me deeper into a world I never wanted. I feel trapped, like I'm navigating an endless maze with no exit in sight. Tuan nodded, his heart aching at the weight of her words. He knew that feeling all too well, the unyielding pull of circumstances. I see a strong woman before me, he replied, genuine admiration lacing his tone. You're fighting for this child's future. And that's something to truly admire. It's not just about the choices we make, it's about what we do with them. In those simple words, Twee found comfort. For the first time in what felt like ages, she felt seen, not through the lens of labels or past judgments, but as a nuanced person brimming with dreams, fears, and an unwavering spirit. I never thought someone like you would understand where I'm coming from, she admitted, a semblance of vulnerability gracing her features. What if we could change our paths together? Tuan's voice held a tone of unwavering conviction, and a glimmer of determination sparked in his eyes. Imagine a different future for both of us. What if you explored a new direction? One where you could thrive instead of merely survive. Twee hesitated, an internal battle raging within her. Are you really serious? The weight of his proposition washed over her like a refreshing wave. Yet it filled her with uncertainty and hope intertwined. Yes, he affirmed earnestly. Let's tear down the walls built by our pasts and construct something new. You deserve a chance at a fulfilling life. And I believe we can help each other. Her heart fluttered at the prospect. I would love to. But what can we do? The world is so daunting, she challenged, her mind racing through a whirlwind of possibilities tempered by fear. Let's find something we're passionate about, Tuan suggested, his enthusiasm infectious. We could start a small business, perhaps a cafe that gives back to the community? Or a project focused on helping single mothers like you. Something that brings light to others' lives while also helping us build our own. Twee felt a tightness in her chest morphing into excitement, the remnants of her fear melting away in the warmth of a shared vision. It was a leap into the unknown, an exhilarating prospect to create a future filled with hope, something she hadn't dared to dream in years. A cafe sounds lovely, she mused, allowing her imagination to take flight with each word. I've always enjoyed cooking and sharing meals with others, but it seems so far-fetched. Why not aim high? Tuan replied, his smile reassuring. We can start small, gather a little support, draft a plan, and bring our vision to life. Together, we could create a support system, for us and for others like us. We would be sharing a piece of our journey and inviting others to join us. His optimism was both comforting and inspiring, painting vivid images within her mind of a community buzzing with laughter and interaction, surrounded by the aroma of fresh coffee and baked goods. You're right, Twee said, her voice firming with newfound resolve. I'll take that leap with you. Let's make it happen. With that, a mutual sense of purpose enveloped them like a warm embrace. Though they knew the road ahead would be fraught with challenges, they stood uncomplicatedly firm, two allies in adversity, ready to face the world together, hand in hand. As they departed the hospital, the air felt different, charged with the freedom of possibilities. Each step resonated with determination. Twee glanced at Tuan and saw not only an ally but a friend, a companion ready to navigate this unknown terrain. They could do this, together. Let's meet again soon. Maybe tomorrow? Twee suggested as they stepped outside, the cool air brushing against their warm skin. Absolutely. Let's start drafting our ideas, Tuan replied, his spirit unwavering. We can outline our goals. And this time next week, who knows, we might be brainstorming about our grand opening. They shared a hearty laugh, an exhilaration blooming between them as they began to envision their cafe, a haven for others escaping their own chaos. Facing a world that often felt heavy with despair, their laughter tinged it with sweet anticipation. No longer defined by their struggles, they were forging a path towards something vibrant and hopeful. Days turned into weeks as they met regularly to sketch out their plans. Their conversations bounced between dreams and logistics, filled with laughter and occasional doubts but underpinned by an unwavering commitment to their vision. They began to draw a blueprint of their cafe on paper, a hospitable space that would welcome not just patrons but serve as a community hub. Tuan often brought homemade recipes he had tried out, urging Twee to taste and critique each one. while she shared her culinary expertise, guiding him through the nuances of flavors and presentation. Together, they concocted ideas for the menu, incorporating fresh produce and local flavors, focusing on wholesome dishes that celebrated their heritage. In those moments, Thuy realized she was not just cooking for others. She was also healing herself. The kitchen became a sanctuary, a space of exploration and creativity where burdens faded alongside the simmering pots and aromatic spices. As months rolled on, they secured a small space in a bustling neighborhood, filled with potential and the promise of a new beginning. Every step was a mix of hope and hard work. They painted walls, set up tables, and poured their hearts into every corner of the cafe. The inaugural day finally dawned, their dreams unfurling in front of them like petals opening to the sun. "Can you believe we're actually doing this?" Thuy whispered, a blend of excitement and nerves coursing through her. "Believe it," Tuan grinned, an infectious energy radiating from him. "We're not just creating a cafe, we're crafting a community. Each cup of coffee will tell stories. Each meal will nurture. And each person who walks through our doors will find a little piece of home." The cafe opened on a sunny Saturday, buzzing with anticipation. The air was thick with the scent of freshly baked goods and brewed coffee as patrons trickled in, their faces alight with curiosity. Thuy and Tuan worked tirelessly behind the counter, their teamwork flowing seamlessly, with each order filled and every conversation shared. They created a warm and welcoming atmosphere where laughter danced freely and connections forged between strangers. Their little cafe quickly became a refuge not only for single mothers looking for a supportive environment but also for anyone in need of a comforting embrace. Regulars began to emerge, some sharing their stories while sipping coffee, others seeking solace among family and friends. Thuy often organized community events, workshops for mothers, and cooking classes that allowed people to engage and learn from one another. In those moments of unity and shared dreams, she became a pillar of strength, fostering a sense of belonging that echoed through the cafe's walls. Tuan often observed her, moved by the way she shone as she empowered others, committing herself to uplift and inspire. As seasons changed, the cafe thrived, a flourishing testament to their dedication. They organized charity drives, raising funds to support local families in need, embodying the very spirit of kindness that had drawn them together. A year later, as they sat together, a steaming cup of coffee in hand, recounting their journey, much had changed. The weight of their burdens had been lightened significantly, replaced with unwavering hope and optimism. "Can you believe how far we've come?" Tuan asked, his voice brimming with pride. "Not in my wildest dreams," Thuy replied, her eyes glistening with tears of joy. "I never imagined a single choice could lead to this. You believed in me when I didn't believe in myself." In that quiet moment, surrounded by the warmth of their accomplishments, they contemplated the paths they had traversed and the lives they had touched together. It was a partnership born from darkness, now bathed in the light of a shared purpose. No longer were they merely navigating a maze, they had blazed a new trail filled with hope, resilience, and love. With each passing day, their bond strengthened, an unbreakable connection that transcended the hardships of their pasts, a friendship forged through understanding and the relentless pursuit of change. And so, they continued to grow, together, forever seeking to uplift others while nurturing their dreams. Wrapped in the embrace of newfound purpose, they looked toward a future blooming with possibilities, a new dawn laden with hope and camaraderie. Ready to thrive,